Good day, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for coming. This is for our present and future Michigan Production Alliance members and supporters. We are the Production Alliance, Michigan Production Alliance, and we are still here. 17 years working for the production community. I can't believe it. Michigan Production Alliance is a 501c6 organization, trade or business enterprise organization. Our goal is to encourage a more stable financial environment for Michigan film and digital production companies, advertising agencies, facilities, staff, freelancers, and support services. Our mission involves providing professional and educational resources to anyone interested in producing media in this state, and we strive to promote our locations and enhance all media professionals throughout the state. Both union and non-union, we're providing resources such as crew, equipment, seminars, workshops, and various other industry-related support. We can help you find what you need. We can help you connect the dots. I'd like to introduce you right now to the members of our board who are here. They represent important areas of our industry, from education, corporate, to commercial and feature film. Guys, hi there, welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
So Nicole, would you mind starting us out with education and how MPA relates to it?
Well, MPA has predominantly worked with college-age students and trade school students with our PA boot camps, and then interacted with them also at the annual MAB conference for the last 2 years in a row. When since COVID, when I've been communicating with video students in high school and in college, they don't have a lot going on right now. It was very difficult for them when they were classes thrown online. That was really difficult for a lot of them. They had issues with motivation, follow through. A lot of them, like in particular, the ones who participate, because I'm on a board of directors at Michigan State of MSU Telecasters that I was a part of, and those kids, yeah, the productions that they did, that they were planning events to invite the public, that all got canceled. So they had, events online that weren't quite the same. So in this pandemic time, I'm not sure what we can do for students right now, and Jeremy's going to have another take on that as he's literally in the classroom with them. But I talked to one as recently as a couple days ago, so it's been an odd time for them. I'm not sure what we could do to help students right now. I'm not sure what they want. Like I said, they've had a hard time, the ones I've talked to, a variety of, participating online or not. It's just been in getting grades that are pass fail. So it's not been anything that any of them expected. There's been a lot of disappointment, but I've also seen a lot of resiliency and a lot of positive attitudes, in particular with kids who are graduating, seniors in high school. Like, well, we were going to have our big film premiere, but we didn't, and that's okay. So they're taking it really well.
Good to hear that. Jeremy?
Yeah, so we continued on. I was teaching 7 classes online, continuing on from the winter semester. And so we were doing a lot of these virtual classroom things. So it's still a possibility. I was lucky enough to have the home studio so I could do stuff, here, and the students could see that live. Now, some of the companies had licenses where you could use the software at home, but some of those licenses are not going to continue on. So students will not be able to use that software unless they pay for those licenses. And depending on what the software is, that could be pretty expensive, whether you're dealing with a full-fledged 3D program like 3ds Max, or you're dealing with the Adobe software, or you're dealing with Pro Tools. They all have a price, and then these students are taking multiple courses, so usually they can come into the lab and use all these softwares, use all this hardware, but that wasn't the possibility that was going on. So we're continuing on. I just got done with a photography class earlier this morning, And the key word now they're using is synchronous. So it's live, but you're talking to the students, and then they don't like to put on their cameras and talk as much as they like to just text in, and chat. So it's just not as interactive, and you can't really tell if they're really paying attention as much and so on, because they could easily be distracted. And so there's been some downsides to that, but some of the benefits are we're able to record and people can see the lectures later on, the videos, and have all the resources online. So it has helped some people out in that regard to re-review material. So there are some benefits to it. It's just a learning experience for everybody.
Okay, and what can we do as an organization sent here to help, the production community? How can we do that more? In the past, we have had events, and Schoolcraft College, where you work, Jeremy, has been very helpful with that. But we're hoping to come back in the future, after this pandemic clears more or less, hoping that there's not a second wave of this. But what can we really do? Any ideas? Or Nicole, if you have anything. I mean,
what we're doing right now is there's a limited amount of students that are allowed on campus. So there's new procedures put in place. So everybody that comes onto campus goes to a central location where, they take your temperature, and the magic number now is 100.4, 100.4, I believe. So if you're that temperature or higher, you can't go in. And then you're allowed to go into just the one facility. You get a little ticket, and that's where you're allowed to go. There's hand sanitizer stations in the hallways and things like that. But there's still social distancing. You do need to be 6 feet away from other people in the lab and so on. There's no congregating before or after class. There's a lot of strict guidelines in place. The majority of classes that we're going to have moving forward in the fall, we're planning, are going to be these synchronous online courses with very limited lab capabilities. Some of the winter students weren't able to do their labs, like in science classes and things like that. Not everyone has Bunsen burners at home and things like that. So they're going to start coming in actually during the summertime to finish up those labs and to do testing. But it's just a whole procedure. Face masks, of course, everybody needs to have that. And that's one concern, whether you're a student or anybody, we do need to think about the long-term consequences that these single plastics are going to have on the environment. And like masks and gloves, and people are using 100 gloves a day. So it's just something we should be aware of and think about. We do want to protect ourselves and not spread the virus, of course, but we do need to think about. So there are different solutions that we've been looking into and things. There's some gloves that are biodegradable that are just as effective. I think they're called EBT gloves, and they break down because, we don't want to get over this virus and then have these plastics around for 400, 1,000 years. We want to get over the virus and not have all the negative consequences. So anyways, reusable masks is something that a lot of people use. You can make sure there's different layers, and you can wash them or alternate, wear one mask one day, wear another mask another day. We don't have to throw them out. So those are just a few other concerns and ways to get around that, is just to think about protecting your hands.
Nicole and I, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Nicole and I had done in the past the Schoolcraft Film Challenge. Is that going to be happening this year?
We haven't got that far in the planning yet. Right now, we're planning the full classes, and we don't really know. Theaters, I believe, are still not open yet in this part of Michigan, and that would fall under those guidelines and so on, because we usually host it in the theater. So right now we're really focusing on the courses, and most of them are switching to an online version, and there's a lot of training and things that we're doing behind the scenes, and everything is falling into place, plus following the governor's guidelines and other guidelines that are set forth by all the different entities. So it's a work in progress. I hope we can do the Schoolcraft Film Challenge again. It's a great networking experience for everybody and so on. But in the meantime, MPA has these great informative dialogues to find out what's going on. And I think what we need to do is just keep networking. It's different. It's online. You know, we're looking at each other virtually, but I do think that there is still a lot of possibility for networking and education and learning. And maybe it can give us a chance to reevaluate, you know, how we're going against marketing and talk. Because I know sometimes we go to events and students go to events, and even myself, and we just get so focused on getting in and out, and not necessarily talking to everybody that's there and networking as much as we could. So, you know, maybe this gives us other opportunities to send messages to each other. Something that we need to reinvent, I think, and as an organization, something else we need to figure out how we're going to run events in the future. You know, and maybe there's other ways. I remember back there was a show, America's Funniest Home Videos. Do you guys remember that show? And I think it's still on the air, but they had the devices, and I'm talking, you know, 25 years ago plus. And so everyone would vote in the audience before everyone had cell phones. So it's kind of interesting. So anyways, I don't know, even if we do get back to events, if there's, you know, technology we can implement, you know, like Messenger or something like that, where we can send each other messages and so on. But in the meantime, start to figure out those processes. Anyways, that's some of the stuff that's on my mind.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I had an opportunity to speak with Jody Gaber, who has been a member of MPA, and she was in the same position that you are in terms of you know, having to learn very quickly about how to teach online and how do you teach a camera online. And she was fortunate to have enough equipment for the number of students in her class so that she was able to actually drop it off at the students' residences and teach them that way, you know. So they actually had a piece of gear in hand.
Wow.
Not every university, every school facility has that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk to Wally next about what can be done. What's happening in the corporate world, Wally? And
The corporate world's been hit, you know, not only by the pandemic, but you also have the economy of everything that's going on too. So a lot of corporate projects that may have been going on have now been, you know, canceled or shelved for a while. So not only are you dealing with how do you protect yourself on set, how do you convince your corporate client that you have practices that are CDC guidelines when you're on set. Plus, while you're on a customer site, you have to also abide by their rules of what they have for being on location. But probably the biggest thing is the economic impact that's hit the corporate world, where there's just not a lot of work going on right now. At least I'm not finding that. You got to have the right customers that are doing the right things. You know, I'm also into the live event arena, which has been totally decimated. So now we're learning how to do virtual things, which, you know, in the old days we called them webinars. Now they're called virtual meetings. It's like it's the same thing, but it's adapting your customers' needs to what you can do virtually and online. So in order to survive, we all have to learn how to navigate that. How do you deal with what your customers' needs are, or how do you deal with no work because the customer's not doing anything right now? So we're all scrambling, trying to find work. You know what that means for the MPA. I'm not sure how MPA can help people other than, you know, help give advice, offer seminars like this so we learn from each other. I think that's the biggest thing, is that we all need to network. We all need to get together and understand that what's affecting you is affecting everybody. We're all dealing with it at the same time, but we're dealing with it different ways. So it's good to learn how other people are dealing with the effects of this pandemic and also the economic downturn. So if you can survive this for the next, I say 12 months, you'll come out of this okay. But you really got a long-term plan, I think, for that long. I don't think this is going to be something that's going to, you know, come out slowly. It's not going to just turn its head and all of a sudden we're all set and all back to business again. Even if live events start coming back, if they start having concerts or sporting events, that's going to take some time to get back to where it was.
yeah, that's right. I've been reading a lot of the guidelines that have come out for COVID-19, industry guidelines, Canadian guidelines, various departments' guidelines. If you're a truck owner, those guidelines, and they're all based on OSHA and HHS and CDC guidelines. They're just layered on top of those. And for us that are having to, work in the educational arena or in the corporate arena, or Sue's going to get with us in a minute and talk about the commercial arena and TV shows, we have to figure out ways of, operating on set. And I just was able to take a course that I think is a good basic course to give a wide variety of crew people and talent an insight into what is acceptable on set now in terms of PPE, in terms of distancing and all that. It's on our website and on our social media. So you can check that out. It's a international set safety course. It is free. Takes about 30 minutes to complete. I wouldn't become a safety monitor or anything substantial with it, but it does give you a good idea of what's necessary. It's going to happen. Sue, Witham.
Hi. So I just want to say that the MPA is kind of a under-recognized organization, but it is absolutely vital, from legislation to answering questions that people may have, especially right now. If you're a newer producer and you have questions about insurance or, how to operate on the set right now, or anything, financing a feature film, reach out to the MPA. There's someone here that can help you, wade through all the stuff that's going on. Commercial production is opening up. I'm hearing that some corporate stuff is opening up in other states, not Michigan. Feature films, there's a lot going on in the background right now for feature films, which is another thing. If you're, a newer producer or you're having trouble finding crew, reach out to the MPA. The Association of Independent Commercial Producers, which is a national organization, actively backs the MPA in Michigan. So, that's something that anybody who's considering joining MPA, I would advise you to do so. The resources are just incredible. And I don't know, do you have any specific questions for me, Mark? I just,
No, that's a good overview for us. I mean, it looks like we're going to be delving into the realm of video conferencing ourselves in the coming months, so we can be out there.
Yeah.
I've started doing that already with Barton Bund, who is actually not a member of MPA, but has been a very big supporter. We have been talking to people and doing the safety dispatch. It's having conversations with producers, stunt people. We talked with Kim Jones, who was from Detroit, and she moved to Atlanta. And now she's a department head and in charge of the IATSE safety guidelines reporting service. So we've had a wide range of conversations that are already on our YouTube channel. And we've really made that active lately. Since March, we've been having these conversations. And we talked with people in the community. Anthony Bomarito from Woodward Original, Alex Kimbrough from Channel 2, Fox 2, as a director. We had maybe 10 episodes that are available on our YouTube channel, and we just would like to have more. So if anyone out there has a suggestion for us, we'd love to tackle content that you might be interested in learning more about. And that's what we do. That's really what we can do right now. So I wanted to thank everybody for watching. And if you have any questions for us, reach out. Michigan Production Alliance, mpami.org is our website. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn. We even have a presence on Flickr. You can find us there with a lot of images from the years that we've been in business, since 2003. So thank you all for watching. Does anyone else have any final words?
Stay safe.
Okay, be safe. Don't touch your face. That's right.
Yeah, right. Go wash your hands.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Nice to see everybody.
Bye,
See you
guys.
well. Great to see you all.
Thank
Good
you.
to see everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for hosting, Mark.
You bet. Bye now.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.